Hi there, my name is Tamara Lawler, and I also go by Tammy Lawler, and my pronouns that I go by are she, her, and I think that's it, she and her. I'm from Ventura, California. Um, I am bilingual and I am biliterate in both Spanish and English. My definition of biliteracy is when you can communicate effectively, and I know that's a loaded term. How do we define effective? But enough for others to really understand you and you to understand others. And how would I describe my literacy and biliteracy experiences? So of course, first I would start with my own personal experience learning how to read and write. I had a kind of a journey. I did learn in Ventura, California, in my native language of English, and I had, back when I started kindergarten, they didn't teach you how to read in kindergarten, so I had a good experience in kindergarten. Then my first and second grade teachers weren't well equipped, and my first grade teacher, she was a very experienced teacher, but she was taught that you can hit kids when they because she was so old school that she still was doing the way she was taught back when, and she would hit you if you made a mistake. So I learned pretty early on, don't try and don't share and you won't get hit. And so therefore I didn't try and I didn't learn anything that first year. And then I went to second grade, and my mom was nervous because my test scores at the end of first grade didn't look so good. And so she and my grandmother put me in a private school that year, but it was the first year of that private school. So they weren't equipped to know what to do with a second grader who hadn't started to learn how to read. And it wasn't a credentialed teacher. And even though she was much kinder, I was allowed to just sit in my desk and be quiet all year and not actually be taught how to read again in second grade. So the first week of third grade, I did actually have a very effective teacher that identified it right away. I was very embarrassed that I couldn't read. I was sure that it was me, and she alleviated my fears and told me that all I needed was to be taught. She put me in a pull-out program a couple hours every day for 3 weeks, and I was up to my third grade reading level by the end of that third week, which was insane. How they taught was whole word recognition. It wasn't, sounding out system. And anyway, so I learned through flashcards and just memorized and went through all the sight words that way. So that was my experience learning to read. And after that, I was so afraid that I would forget how to read that I never stopped reading. I just became a voracious reader after that. Then I taught my children how to read, and I did that through phonics and sight word recognition, and just immerse them into literature. Even when they were little babies, they were being read to, and I would stop and ask them to make predictions and things like that, just because that's my field. So that's my children. And then in the classroom, I have been teaching since 1993, and I taught high school English, and then I also teach emergent bilinguals in college at UCSB in their workplace, not as a student, but as a worker, and how to improve their writing. And so what I found most in the workplace is that, like our professor shared with us, everybody comes from such different backgrounds. And so the ones that need the most effective support tend to be the ones who did not get any literacy in their primary language, and then they're trying to learn it in their secondary language. And that a lot of the skills that you need to acquire to do that are transferable, and they're not if you don't get them in your primary language. So I have often, because the group of students that I tend to work with are Spanish speakers as well, I have the luxury of going back into their primary language and teaching them that way first, and then into English, and we learn it so much quicker. However, the students that I have from Moscow, I have some from Russia. Obviously I can't do that, and luckily those students happen to have already had it in their primary language. They didn't have a gap of learning as a child in their primary language for literacy, so I got away with it there. What do we do with the students that we can't offer that kind of support to in the future? I'm not sure, and that's why I'm really glad I'm in this class. But anyway, thank you. I hope that this introduction is helpful, and I'm really excited about the class. Have a great day.